Thank you, Mr. Wen. So after your presentation, I know more about the technologies relevant for immersive experience. You have shown us a lot of case studies in some big shows and big dramas. Maybe we can try applying these technologies in more art forms, and that will help us innovate and create more business models. Okay, now let's move on to the dialogue. And our panelists represent a wide array of expertise. Some of them are focused on hardware development and others on content creation. And also we have representatives from the theaters. So now I would like to invite the panelists up on the stage. They are Lu Jiawei, Director, Micro Interactive Technology. Huang Guijiang, General Manager from Kingsmark Everett Engineering. Fu Ruoyan, Founder of Gallant Beijing Cultural Communication. And Man Ding, Artistic Director from the Inside Out Theater. Thank you. And now let's welcome the moderator of the topic, Ms. Jiang Lingling. So she has worked as a journalist for many years, so she's the right person to do the job. But it's her first time, so she's a little bit nervous. Thank you. Just now, the Secretary General has given you an introduction of the panelists. As you can see, our panelists actually covers the various aspects of performance and art, the hardware, the content creation, and artists. I think all we do is to serve the needs of the artists, the theater creators. I think it's always been an important work to match the needs of the different sides of our industry. So first of all, when we discuss immersive experience, what are we talking about? Traditionally, we think about a defined space. So this is version 1.0 for immersive.
For 2.0, we may don't need such a space, and technology can help us to break through the imagination of people. So I want to ask Mr. Huang, because he has participated in the returning of Hong Kong and Macau Olympic Games of Beijing. So Mr. Huang provided technological services to those great events. So Mr. Huang, dear participants, good morning. Today I'm very happy to attend this expo. My company since 1990s has been doing the technology support for performance industry. So you can see that science and technology has been creating the productivity. As a result, there are a lot of changes in the performing arts industry. Over the past years, in China, you can see we are catching up with the other countries in terms of large-scale performance. So I think that this is due to the application of the hardwares as well as all kinds of equipment. Previously, we see that we have been adopting the multimedia technologies So this is attributable to our technical progress. For example, the Asia Carnival in the bird nest. And at the same time, we are also holding all kinds of shows during APAC and the other great events. So you can also see that in Qingdao and some of the other places, actually these buildings can be connected for the performance. So this is the technological development. And now in China, we're also advocating immersive performance and night tours. From my side, I believe that now on the market there are a lot of performing arts. So technologically, there's no problem for us to realize that. But now, whether we can adopt the audio, video, and feeling, light control, AI, VR, AR, etc. So through all kinds of effects, we have been making the audience more engaged, and there will be a lot of interactions with the audience. And second, in terms of digital control, we also see great progress. For example, the application of the mechanical arms. So I think you already see these applications in the interactions with the audience. The other thing is the combination of art with the facilities. And you can see that there's a video from South Korea, the Great Wave. We're greatly impressed by those new forms of ads. So I really have a sense of 3D. You see that with the development of technologies and softwares, there are a lot of updates in the combination of arts and technologies. So in immersive performance, there are many different projects. For example, in Yuantan, we have a performing arts season. So when we set up a project, you can see that when you walk into the site through touching, and there will be fog, rain, lightning, thunder, etc. So it seems to be very simple, but actually it's a combination of 6 different technologies: staging, equipment, audio, visual, lighting, all kinds of different technologies combined together. As a result, you will feel better engaged. The other thing is AR and VR application. So you can see the future trend from these aspects. So far, our technology become more and more mature, so we can play the potential of the creators of the content. We can support them technologically. Thank you, Mr. Huang. Actually, Mr. Huang mentioned that there's a large outdoor exhibition in Yuantan. I think you may go and experience. With the solid support from technology, how can we better improve content in terms of software? In the just and CPAX, Micro also cooperated with the China Performing Company and actually staged a platform there. So how to enhance the experience of the audience? I believe that he has a lot of things to share with us. Mr. Lu. Our company actually developed interactive softwares. In the very beginning, we engage in new media arts, exhibition, etc. We combine the latest technologies to create a new experience for the audience. In terms of technology, I think that you already mentioned there are several aspects. Firstly, the real-time capture, dynamic capture. So we have the real-time special effects on the stage. The most important thing is real time, so this is the revolutionary part for the technology. The other thing is AR and VR, in particular AR. The most interesting part for AR is that it actually identifies an object, a graph in reality, and in the software there will be some virtual elements overlapped with the reality. So you can see the combination of virtual and real things. It will create a brand new experience for the audience. For example, Pokemon Go game. And the other thing I enjoy very much is Zhang Yimou's dialogue 2047. So this is the cooperation pieces of art with a lot of inherited art carriers. In that performance, you can see the good combination of traditional and modern technologies. And actually, the most valuable thing in history will be integrated into the technology. For example, the drone performance and the mechanic arms. At the same time, you also see all kinds of different panels. With the development of technology, there are all kinds of different panels. For example, a panoramic projection of everything, for example, desert. So technologically speaking, there's no problem or limitation for the technology. I think actually idea and creativity are the most important thing in the future performance. I'd also like to ask you, as a performer, we may not very familiar with technology. We often heard AR and VR. So could you give us some examples about what is VR and what is AR? For AR, for example, there's a floor in front of us. It can actually identify this floor, and we create some virtual scene and overlapped with reality and interact with you. For virtual reality, it's just like a 360 surrounding environment. It's very easy to create such an immersive experience. You will be extracted from the reality and will be thrown into a created reality. We just mentioned that in CPAX, when we conducted the immersive stage experience, we have received different scenarios. Even though we didn't see the presentation on the screen, but we think that actually it's on the Arctic. You can interact with the polar bear there. And in the Beijing International Musical Festival, there's a VR opera. There's no one performing Actually, you just wear the headset to experience a 15 minutes of performance. So you can see that piece of art has been put on show for 900 times in Sanlitun and was very popular among the young people. And next question from Mr. Fu. When we talk about art, we always make a consensus that form will serve the content. So in this era, we have to really serve the script to serve the storyteller. So you are actually the producer of theater and performing arts. You also build the first performing arts cinemas. So, Mr. Fu, could you share with us your ideas and experience? I think previous speakers really inspired us a lot because our company has established for 11 years. We have a lot of original production. When we stage a show, you will find that there will be a problem you have to face, which is about survival. Because you see that in the theater, it is a heavy asset business. We face a 300, 500 audience, or at most 1,500 audience. So actually, the revenue is limited. So for a commercial operation, you have to generate positive return. When we staged the performance, we conducted a lot of trials. For example, when we perform in one place, and then we try to use this IP and to perform in 3 different cities. In that way, we can actually reduce the mobility cost because China is huge. So for one same IP, we cooperate with local partners. And later, there's also some performance videos recorded and will be put on show online. We cooperated with the publishers, for example, to produce a VCD. And later, VCD become an obsolete technology, and people have smartphones. At that time, there are 3 licenses issued. At that time, the traffic cannot support 2-hour performance. You can just watch a 10 minutes show on your mobile phone. And the cost is very high. So I'm asking what kind of clients are actually watching these videos. They say that actually the students in tier 3 cities, when they are in the dormitories, they feel idle and they will watch the videos.
But later, we have put our repertoires and productions online. And the Le TV also records VR content. For example, they will record the on-site VR performance for us so that when you put on the helmet, you will have a VR experience. So VR, you can only wear the VR helmet for maximum of 15 minutes. After that, you will feel dizzy and feel uncomfortable. So they didn't pursue it any further. For us, we have always been trying to enable online live streaming of on-site performances. So over the past 6 years, many people have approached us for that. And every year we sign a contract with one of them, and next year maybe we sign a contract with another company. I think the development of technology has made it very difficult for us to harness that. The development is so fast and the technology is so innovative that we find that our ideas really lag behind the technological development. In the United States, we have seen many great attempts. What attracts me the most is that their creation is really to serve each and every audience member. How to create the details to make the experience more immersive, this is very important. But for us, the technology is really brilliant. So for the content creators, what we are thinking is about how can we cater to the development of technology, because the technology companies are really rich. They can invest in 10 or 20 of our repertoires with that money. So we are climbing a mountain. We are at the different sides, at the foot of the mountain. So we have to climb upwards and try to meet each other at the hilltop. But now we're only halfway. Okay, very good analogy. Theater, traditional performance is never far away from technology. Actually, the Inside Out Theater has been doing that for a long time. They have been offering a scientific art festival since 2013, and it's very famous in Beijing. I don't know if you're familiar with the Inside Out Theater. We often joked that because it is located between Beijing and Hebei, so it's called the Inside Out, or in Chinese, literally the middle theater. So on weekends, many Beijingers will bring their children to experience the high-tech driven theater repertoires. So how do you think of combining technology with theater art? Actually, we are located between Beijing and Hebei, but still, geographically, we belong to Beijing area. I've listened attentively to the previous speakers. They talked about the advanced technology and large performances. I think we are focused on this middle size or small size theater productions. This is our niche market. How to combine technology with art. In this niche market, this is what we want to focus on. Money is always limited, so we have a limited capacity in pursuing the latest technology with our scale. So we changed our perspective. We think about how technology changed our life. We think about the ethics, the values behind it. So we talked a lot about VR. In 2018, we introduced a British VR production. So in VR performances, we wear a glass or helmet. So I raised a question. If we can use the glasses, why do we need to go into the theater? We can watch at home. So I think this production has solved my concerns or questions. So in that show, the audience is supposed to be a jury, and the actor is a key witness of a case 10 years ago. And the actor is amongst the audience, and a policeman keep asking him what he knows. So this is crime story. And this case, criminal case, was happened 10 years ago, and some new evidence emerged 10 years later, and so this witness was called to the jury. And there's a screen or display in front of the audience, and the audience members have to wear their VR glasses, and they can see all the evidence that were there 10 years ago. And during this process, if the audience member took off their glass, the scene changes. So the audience is here and now in the theater, but this story is the VR evidence were produced 10 years ago. And each time the audience member put on or took off their glasses, the scene changes. And the seats can rotate 360 degrees. And there is a technical challenge for us, the language barrier. So in the past, we have captions for the English shows, but for VR experience, where to put the caption? It's 360 degrees. How to post the caption? So we thought about a lot of solutions, but not a, didn't solve it actually. Actually, the evidence scene is only 5 minutes. We don't have enough financial resources, so we only did it in 3 to 5 minutes. So that the audience can take off their glasses and take a rest. I think for the medium and small sized theaters, this is quite good for us. This is what we can do with VR to the best of our abilities. This is what we want to try. And we invited a VR equipment vendor to the theater, and we told him the technical challenge, and he said that we are really outdated, and the latest technology can fully support that, but it's too expensive for us. So that's the technical attempts or trials we have done. I think the large-scale theaters or performances have no problem with that, but for us, the small, medium-sized productions, I think this is a problem, and we have to explore the possibilities. I think technology not only has to cover those large customers, they only have to think about us. And this year, we want to make movies into the theaters. Okay. So now we all know about the panelists, and they know each other very well. And we can touch upon some deeper questions. Just now, Mr. He said the theater, the production companies maybe do not have enough financial resources. So my question goes to the technology experts. Is it possible to control the cost? We make hardware and develop technologies. I think what you pay, what you get. Large equipment and advanced technologies can make a lot of good things. But for our industry, I think creation, the ideas are always the most important. If you have the idea, and we can support that with the technology. And I think that technology is becoming more affordable nowadays because of the COVID-19 pandemic. AR and VR technology has been developing very fast. And now we're talking about XR technology. It has been put into application since last year. So when you're shooting a film or a TV episode, you can use this technology, XR technology. So already a movie has been shot with a lot of this technology. For example, we equip this space with LED displays. And if we want to shoot a scene of having a dinner in Paris, we don't have to go to Paris. We can project the scenes onto the LED screens to make it look like Paris. And it's real time. It's not green screen or anything like that. It's real time. It's really realistic. And that can save you a lot of money. You don't have to travel abroad to Paris. So you can shoot scenes in Tibet or the US just in Beijing. And it has been more and more widely used. And the studios have been set up in Shanghai and Wuxi as well. And the XR technology has many online events. For example, the Samsung launch event used this technology as well. And our company provides technological support for auto release events. And this year, a lot of the events are staged online. And we're thinking about how to better support such events. And we'll also look forward to your suggestions and ideas. I think it represents the future trend of performing arts. And also, I'd like to talk about artificial intelligence. This is a very broad concept, and it can do a lot of things for the performing arts industry. It can capture all the imaginative spaces for us. Okay, thank you. And Mr. Fu, when you do the theater production, we'll consider the cost. I think this is the biggest concern for us. And anything to share with the panelists? Just now you talked about XR. I've heard it before. And it actually virtualizes all the staging elements. And in the past, we have to make all these props or things for the stage. And we will spend several tens or hundreds of thousands of yuan for that. The XR technology can virtualize the scenes through the LED screens or displays. So if we change all the performances into online products, this technology can help us offer a better experience. The NPS can have very good viewing experience, but it's still a performance product. If we want to turn performance into a video, I think all the technologies are there. The biggest problem is that the audience don't want it. Because the target audience of videos are different from the audience of performances. The video audiences make use of spare time to watch some very short-length videos through the iPad or through the phone. But for performances, there is a frame. So the video audience don't want to have a view of the performance through a frame. They just want to use the iPad or iPhone.
So this is what we have to solve. If we want to totally change the performance into a compounded video product, it means that when we shoot the content of the performance, it should be a brand new things. You cannot just think that you serve the offline performance as well as the online live streaming. It's not like that. Actually, for online streaming and offline performance, the language system are totally different. So this year I have been developing this. Thank you, Mr. Fu. The time is very limited in terms of performance and technology and the convergence of these two elements. There will be a lot of different things. Technological input is just one thing. And most importantly, I think the talents cultivation will be very important. We need more talents to closely connect these two together. I hope that today's dialogue can inspire more people. Thank you for panelists. Moderator, please. Thank you for your participation. Thank you, Ling for your moderation. And this morning we have finished the themed speeches and panel discussion. Today, actually, time is very limited. I believe that there's a lot of extensions and we should spend more time and there will be more opportunities for us to combine technology and arts together so that we can discuss the combination of arts and technology in the future. And finally, I would like to make a forecast. In this afternoon, on the same site, we will have the China and Afro-Asia Region Performing Arts Forum. So this is actually sponsored by Bureau of International Exchange and Cooperation, Ministry of Culture and Tourism of China. You may not know what geography is Afro-Asia. It's actually extended from West Asia to North Africa. In terms of the category of the countries, those oil-producing countries are all in this region. For this region, actually, we always have a very long and time-honored relationship, but the performing arts cooperation is not that close comparing with the United States and Europe. I think there's a lot of potential for us to intensify our cooperation in the future. I hope that in the afternoon, through this forum, we can enhance the mutual understanding. We also invited our overseas speakers, including a speaker from government, so that we can have a better understanding about the Afro-Asia performing markets, so that we can expand our cooperation in the future. I hope that you can come back before 3 p.m. See you in the afternoon.